everyone of our attendants for joining us. And I hope this webinar will give us much knowledge in developing language teaching. Before we start this presentation session, I currently invite Dr. Sari Silviani, to the coordinator of SRF to address a welcoming remarks, also officially open this event. For Dr. Sari, time is yours.
Thank you very much, Ayu, for your kind introduction. Good morning, everyone. Alhamdulillah, we have the time and the opportunity to meet again virtually for our series of webinar in second language in language education research conference Expo. This is the second time since we started last year. Okay, the topic for our meeting today is enhancing English proficiency, exploring reading motivation, HOTS-based materials, TOEFL strategies, and teachers' professional development. This is the collection of some ideas in regard to our efforts to develop and to improve English proficiency of our students. Today, we have a line of presenters. We have 6 students who are currently doing research on different aspects related to reading and materials that highlight the higher order thinking skills, the TOEFL strategies, and also a very important aspect of teachers' professional development. Through this meeting, we hope that we can share ideas and also disseminate our research progress as well as results that can contribute to the discussion on how we can improve the quality of students' learning as well as teachers' professional development. So we are going to have the opportunity to discuss what is new in reading motivation research. And of course, we also looking forward to discuss what kind of materials that are considered as higher order thinking. And then TOEFL strategies is also one of the aspects that students in higher education should achieve. So we will see what kind of studies we are doing in our study program in regard to the strategies that can help students to improve their English proficiencies. Last but not least, we are going to discuss teachers' professional development. Yeah, I think 2 of our students here specifically looking at students doing the professional development as fresh graduates. Yeah, they study for 1 year to be certified teachers, and of course there are some issues that might be contributing to their success, and also other aspects that we need to pay attention to when we do professional development. Okay, with these lines of topics ahead of us, I think we should save the time to give to the presenters to give insights on these issues. Okay. Last but not least, I would like to officially open our webinar today, the second series in Language Education Research Conference and Expo 2024. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Sari, for the welcoming remarks and great speech to open this event. Ladies and gentlemen, now we continue the presentation session. I would like to invite the moderator for our keynote speakers, Sinta Apriani. For Sinta Apriani, time is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, Ayu. So, good morning for all the participants here. I hope all the participants are still enthusiastic for this session until the Q&A session. First of all, please allow me to welcome the all presenter who will be sharing their idea and experiences with us today. So, welcome to this session to integrating technology and communication skills in teaching learning process. My name is Inta Apriani and I am the moderator for this session. We have a lineup of insightful presentation for researchers and we encourage your participation throughout this session. I would like to explain some rules for the webinar. Each presenter will have 10 minutes to present their work and be sure that to share the point of the time and we have 6 presenter in this session. Before we start, I will read the short biodata of the each presenters. All of the presenter present their paper. It would be followed by Q&A session. So without further ado, please allow me to begin the session. Before we jump to the presenter, I would like to remind all the participants, don't forget to fill out the attendance list before you can get the certificate. So I need the operator to share screen. Okay, take a look at here. Let me read the short biodata of the each presenter. The first presenter is Weni Pratiwi with the title is Integrating Technology Enhancing Communication Preserves Teacher Perception and Collaborative Podcast Creation in English Language Education. She is an alumni from Winarden Fata Palembang and her occupation is private tutor. Next, the second presenters is Mahram Abdi Maros. The title is Exploring Collaborative Exposition Text and Podcast in Enhancing English Language Education Through Technology. He is an alumni from Winarden Fata and also his occupation is formerly taught at private English course. Next presenter, please. Okay, next is Nur Matasya. The title is Exploring the Challenges and Benefits of Utilization Podcast in EFL Classroom. She is an alumni from Sriwijaya University and she is also an English teacher for ES students and elementary school teachers. Next, the fourth is Dimas Anuto Prakoso. The title is The Level of Primary English Teacher in Digital Competence, an alumni from Bina Dharma University and English Literature. And his occupation is as a elementary school teacher. Next. The last is Farah Salsabila. The title is English Teacher's Level of Digital Competence. She is an alumni from Muhammadiyah University and her occupation is formerly in English teacher at SMA Muhammadiyah 4 Palembang. Okay, I think that's all the presenters. Let me call the first presenter, Weni Pratiwi, to do yours. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, moderators. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Waalaikumsalam
wabarakatuh.
The Honorable our lecturer, Dr. Sari Silviani, good morning. Thank you for having me here today. And good morning, everyone. In this opportunity, I would like to present my article research entitled Integrating Technology and Enhancing Communication Preserves Teachers' Perception and Collaborative Podcast Creation in English Language Education. Next slide, please. Yeah. Well, everybody, this is the background that's underlying my research. The integration of technology in education has significantly transformed traditional teaching methods, particularly in language education. Among various technological tools, podcasts has emerged as a valuable resource for enhancing the learning experience for free-service teacher in English language education. And collaborative podcast creation provides free-service teachers with a unique opportunity to develop essential communication skills, making it important to understand the collaborative process involved. This understanding can help identify effective strategies for teacher education programs, and it prepares future educators for modern classroom demands. Everybody, however, implementing podcasting in educational settings present challenges. The dynamics of collaboration can be influenced by factors such as individual personalities, group cohesion, and task distribution among team members. There is also research gap in my research. The identified research gap in this study is the insufficient exploration of how collaborative podcast creation can specifically enhance communication skill among free service teachers in English language education. While research on technology integration in education is well established, viewer studies have explored the specific impact of collaborative podcast creation on the communication skills of pre-service teachers, particularly in the context of English language education. The study aims to investigate how collaborative podcast creation enhances communication skills among pre-service teachers in English language education, focusing on their perceptions of technology integration after creating podcast collaboration. There is also novelty. It lies in combining technology with collaborative learning to foster both educational engagement and skill development. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay. Yes. Yeah, this is my methodology. By targeting fourth, sixth, and eighth semester students who had created podcasts of English education study program at Sriwijaya University that consists of 113 students, the survey effectively gathered insight from those directly involved in the learning process. The survey includes 30 closed-end items, and then the data from survey was analyzed by using descriptive analysis to calculate descriptive statistics to decide the mean and standard deviation for each linked skill item. And then we move to the finding. Moderator, please. Yeah. This is the first finding. The integration of the technology after the creating podcast. Based on the table, we can show the average for each item is above 3. The data indicates a strong agreement among pre-service teachers regarding the positive impact of technology integration, particularly through podcast creation, on their teaching practices and student engagement. Everybody, the findings suggest that technology not only enhances the effectiveness of English language education, but also foster a more engaging and personalized learning environment. As students, as the pre-service teachers become more comfortable and confident with technology, they are likely to continue integrating these tools into their pedagogical approaches, ultimately benefiting their future students. And then the second finding. Next slide. Okay. Okay. For the collaborations podcast in the classroom, the data indicates the average for each item is above 3 as well. It indicates a strong agreement among participants regarding the positive impacts of collaborative podcast creation on their communication skills. The finding suggests that engaging in such collaborative projects not only enhances individual communication abilities, but also fosters teamwork, active learning, and capacity to provide and receive constructive feedback. And then the last one, okay, the conclusion. So everybody, based on the finding, we can conclude that the finding indicates that about technology integrations through podcast creation and collaborative podcast projects have a positive impact on student, pre-service teachers, specifically the data shows strong agreement among participants that technology enhances the effectiveness of English language education and a more engaging learning environment. Furthermore, collaborative podcast creation significantly improve communication skills, teamwork, active learning, and ability to provide and receive constructive feedback. Okay, I think that's all. Thank you for your attention. I will go back to moderator. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Eni Pratiwi. Great explanation. Next, come to the second presenter. The floor is yours.
Oke, cek. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you very much for moderator, the honorable our lecturer. I'm Sari Silviani. Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for give me chance and opportunity to present to you about research article research entitled Exploring Collaborative Exposition Text and Podcasts, Enhancing English Language Education through Technology Integration. Okay, I would like to talk about important topic that is not only relevant globally but also directly impact our future, climate change. My presentation will focus on why it is crucial to raise awareness about climate change among younger generation and how education can play a key role in addressing this global issue. First, the background of the study. First is climate change is one of the world's most pressing issues. The second is the importance of raising awareness of the younger generation about climate change. Climate change refers to long-term changes in temperature and weather patterns caused by human activities, especially the burning of fossil fuels and deforestation. Over the years, these activities have significantly increased the concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, leading to global warming. We have all heard about devastating effects of climate change, such as rising sea levels, extreme weather, and the disruption of ecosystems. These consequences are not just future problems, they are happening right now, and they will continue to affect our lives in coming decades. The reason this issue is so urgent is because it threatens the future of our planet, including our livelihoods, and those of future generation. As the younger generation, it is crucial for us to be well-informed, understanding the science behind climate change and take action to address it. Without awareness and education, we cannot hope to make a significant impact. Significances. Point one, climate change-based exposition texts help students understand issues in systematic way. And the second point, podcast is a modern medium that is interesting and effective for learning. This brings us to the significance of education. Education has the power to shape the way we think and act. Through climate change-based exposition text, we can learn how to better understand this global challenge in a structured and systematic way. Exposition texts are a form of writing that explains or argues a particular point of view. They help readers engage with an issue step by step, providing clarity and causes, effect, and potential solution. By working with these texts, students are not only learning about climate change, but also developing important skills such as critical thinking, logical reasoning, and problem solving. These are skills that will help us not just in school but in all aspects of our lives. especially when it comes to addressing global challenges like climate change. Furthermore, podcasts are a modern and effective medium for learning. Unlike traditional textbooks or lectures, podcasts provide information in an engaging, easy to understand, and accessible way. As a student, we can listen to the podcast anytime, whether we are in traveling, relaxing, or exercising, making them flexible learning tool. Podcasts are not only the great way to present climate change topic, but also help improve our listening, comprehension, and language skills, which are essential in our education, especially in English language learning. Next slide, please. Back, okay. Problem statement. First is lack of innovative learning media that integrate climate change in curriculum. Second is low usage of media like podcasts in English language learning. However, despite the importance of both climate change education and modern learning, there are some challenges we face. The first challenge is the lack of innovative learning media that incorporate climate change into curriculum. In many schools, the curriculum still relies on traditional teaching methods, which might not fully engage students or address current global issues in an impactful way. Additionally, there is a low usage of podcasts in language learning, particularly in English. Podcasts are still underutilized as a learning tool, despite their potential to make education more interactive and accessible. This presents an opportunity for us to explore how podcasts can be to teach on not only language skills, but also critical global issues like climate change. Research question. This research seeks to combine the structured approach of exposition text with the flexibility and appeal podcasts. The idea is to create learning material that are not only educational, but also interesting and engaging for students while effectively addressing global issues like climate change. Next slide, please. Okay, here is the methodology that I will use. Okay, we can skip this. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, since I have not taken the data, the result of the questionnaire and interview are not available yet. Maybe we can skip this. Next to conclusion. This research hopefully aimed to develop climate change-based exposition text for podcasts to address the lack of innovative learning materials that integrate global issues like climate change into English curriculum using the research and development. Okay, the study systematically analyzed, designed, developed, implemented, and evaluated the text to ensure their validity and relevance for 11 grade students of SMA Sriwijaya Negara. The descriptive analysis of questionnaire data and then the thematic analysis of interviews are expected to confirm the validity and effectiveness of developed text, highlighting their ability to enhance students' understanding of climate change issues systematically. Additionally, the use of podcasts as a modern learning medium offers a practical and an engaging approach to learn language learning, increasing student interest and participation. Overall, the study underscores the potential of integrating global issue into innovative learning materials such as podcasts to foster environmental awareness while improving English language skills. This combination of educational and environmental goals offers the valuable contribution to teach strategies and curriculum development. Okay, I think that's all from my presentation. Back to moderator. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, the second presenters. Great explanation. Next, before we jump to the third presenter, let me invite the third presenter to present yours. So, the third presenter, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you so much, moderator, for the time. Good morning, everyone, and especially for Ma'am Sari. I would like to present my presentation today. The title is Integrating Technology as Learning Media in Academic Writing Course. And how should podcast be? For the next slide, please, moderator. Okay. Podcasts have a lot of promise to help modern education, right, as a learning tool. With more than 18.5 million episodes distributed across more than 155 countries, podcasts have emerged as one of the media with the quickest rate of growth in recent years. The benefits of podcasts include their affordability, accessibility, and also the adaptability, which enable users to listen while engaging in other activities like cooking or traveling. And also, podcasts can improve students' learning experiences through blended learning and boost accessibility and flexibility in the classroom. Actually, students welcome podcasting as a means of supplementing curriculum, whether as textbook alternatives or to increase learning. Podcasts were useful in situations when traditional methods were impractical, as they enable continual learning regardless of availability. Traditional lecture attendance remained unchanged, emphasizing podcast complementary role in facilitating flexible educational content access. And podcasts are linked to traditional media and audio converge developments, allowing for the widespread distribution of material across several media platforms. For the next slide, please. Okay, the study title Integrating Technology as Learning Media in Academic Writing course, How should podcast be? It aims to assess the impression of the use of podcasts as learning media in academic writing course in English language education study program in higher education institution. Specifically, it explores recommendations and guidelines for the utilization of podcasts with a focus on improving the quality education in the future. Next slide, please. All right, this is the result. This is the methodology of my study. The research subject is the A class of Intralaya class in academic year 2020 or 2021. And the method of the study, I use qualitative research design using survey research approach. And for data collection, I used semi-structured interviews through personal WhatsApp call interview for 15 minutes for every person. Next slide, please. All right, this is the finding of my study. The first is as one of the platform deliver the knowledge from the expert. So in this study, I discovered a number of hopes actually regarding to podcast in education after speaking with respondents. And according to the findings from the interviewing process, podcasts offer a special way for students to gain insight from professionals in a variety of sectors via the delivery of expert information. This is the first point finding in the study, because students can better understand difficult subjects that are frequently difficult to understand using conventional teaching methods by using this medium. And also professionals can simplify complex ideas into easily understood content by distilling information into simpler language. And additionally, storytelling and real-world examples are frequently included in podcasts, which makes learning interesting and approachable. Students are better able to relate to the content because to this personal touch, which increases engagement and retention. And for the second finding, using podcasts to complete tasks and writing skills, it is because podcasts can also be used in unique assignment formats, allowing students to convert their written work into audio content. This activity enables students to improve their writing skills while also assessing their grasp of the issue. For example, to transform an essay into a podcast, students must condense crucial themes, adjust their tone for the audience, and effectively communicate their thoughts. This is not only strengthens writing skills, but also improves public speaking and communication skill. And the last finding is as the complement to other learning media. Okay, this is the third impact of podcast. How should podcast be as a learning media? Because uh, as the finding after the interview the students, podcasts have many benefits to support education, right? Especially as a complement to other learning media. Podcasts can be used to introduce new topics, provide expert insight, or encourage students to think critically before they work on tasks such as writing, discussing, or creating projects. In addition, podcasts can also be a place for students to create and share their own ideas, explore new things in a more fun way while practicing speaking skills. Even so, podcasts alone are not enough because audio formats may not be suitable for some learning styles, and skills such as writing or practical assignments require direct feedback to be able to get the core points of the material delivered using the podcast medium. Adding assignments using other application or holding group discussion to create more interactive learning so that students' understanding of the material can really reach the maximum point and can enter as long-term memory of the students. And of course, it will help to improve students' outcomes when the exam takes place because the understanding is firmly embedded in the students' brains and can apply what they have learned. The next slide, please. Okay, this is the conclusion of my study. Podcasts provide easy access to professional teaching and help students understand different writing styles, improving their academic writing skills. By turning written assignments into audio content, podcasts help students organize their ideas and communicate their thoughts clearly. Writing a podcast script also helps organize their thinking. For the best results, podcasts should be used regularly and combined with other teaching methods like group projects and peer evaluations, as podcasts do not provide direct feedback. All right, that's all from me. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you for the third speaker. Next, great explanation. Coming to the fourth speaker, it's Dimas Ananto Prakoso. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you to the moderator for the chance. So I'm Dimas Ananto, and I'm here to present you about my research regarding the topic digital competence. So here is my title: Teachers' Perceptions, Digital Competence, a Literature Review. So let's start now. Moderator, please. Next. Okay, so digital competence. The term digital competence refers to societal and industry transformations caused by the usage of digital technology. This trend is fused pushed by the progression of the digitalization and the development of information and communication technologies, which are useful in many sectors of socio-economic life, like and then therefore, digital competence is crucially needed by the teachers for effectively integrating digital technology into their teaching and learning methods. So, and then, according to Cabezas Gonzalez et al., digital competence is also beneficial for students to grab new learning opportunities, train to meet work market expectation, and thrive in their academic and professional activities. Okay, next, please. Okay, so digital competence is the general term used to describe or explain the ability of a citizen, a student, or a teacher to use information technology or IT in a specific context. And then component of the digital competence, according to Ferrari 2013, digital competence involves a broad of information, that is information, communication, content creation, problem solving, and then safety. So, and then digital competence in education. So acceptance of technology in education impact instructor or teacher desire to employ digital technology in their work. And then next, please. Okay, so next is teachers digital competence. So according to Falun 2020 suggested teachers digital competence based on several pillars. Oh, okay. The next is the theoretical framework. So, according to Ferrari, like I stated before, digital competence involve a range of skills. They are information, communication, content creation, safety, and problem solving. The first one is information and data literacy. So one of the important aspects is managing information. This means being able to identify, find, access, store, organize, and analyze digital data. It also requires understanding the importance and purpose of the information. And then the next one is communication and collaboration. So another crucial part of digital competence is communication in online settings. This includes being able to communicate effectively, share resources, connect with others, and collaborate digitally. It also involves interacting with different groups and networks, promoting cross-cultural understanding in the online world. And then the third one is digital content creation. So creating information is also a key part of digital competence, covering tasks like making and changing content, like writing, photos, or even recording of videos, as well as using past knowledge and content. So being digitally competent in content creation also involves producing creative expression and media. And then the fourth one is safety. So by using the digital technology, we also need to mind about the safety, like personal protection, data protection, digital identity protection, security measure, and assuring the safe and sustainable use of digital resources are all critical component of the digital landscape safety. And then the last one is problem solving. So problem solving abilities in the digital world include recognizing digital requirements and resources, making educated judgment on the most appropriate digital tools depending on purpose or need, and addressing conceptual issues using technology. And then developing expertise in these areas help to overall improve the digital competence of the teacher. Next, please. And then next is challenges and benefits. The first one is the benefits. So by implementing digital technology in the learning and teaching environment, we can get many benefits. So the first one is we can enhance the learning. So by utilizing digital competence in classroom, it can improve the students in learning new knowledge by making the learning environment more engaging through digital technology. And then we can equip learners with digital skills needed in work field. So by providing the learners with digital literacy, we can make them more prepared to compete in real-world situations, such as finding job or even creating their own business. And then access information. So having digital competence will make it easier to access new information or content, and at the same time, filtering the right confirmation from the wrong ones. And then help to better demonstrate a concept. So by integrating technology, it will help easier to explain a concept by providing audio visual or even giving additional information related to the concept. And then the last one is efficiency. Therefore, by utilizing digital competence, we can correctly improve the efficiency in the learning and teaching environment. And then next is the challenges of digital competence. The first one is digital literacy. So this is the first obstacle and the most important one. So if we want to implement the digital competence, we need to understand first what is digital competence and how we can implement them. So if we don't have the sufficient digital literacy, then it is become a challenge for us to implement the digital competence. And then next is lack of direct interaction. So if we to focus on using digital in the teaching and learning environment, we become the interaction or the direct interaction will become lacking, and then the student and teacher relationship will reduce to, or will become more far away, and then need for self-discipline. So if we want to integrate digital competence, we need to discipline ourselves first. So if we lack discipline, then it is almost impossible or become hard for us to implement this digital competence. And then technological obstacle, it is actually similar with the first one. If we lack the knowledge itself, then it is hard for us to implement it. And then the deadlines, it is actually kind of related to the first one. If we lack the knowledge, then it is hard for us to meet the deadlines that required for us to finish certain material or finishing the teaching material. And then the practicality. For practicality, if we also lack the knowledge, then it is also become a hindrance or a challenge for us to conduct it in the classroom by combining the teaching material with technology. So it's all depend on the digital literacy. And that's all for me, since this is a progressive discussion, so I only have the general idea to share to all of you. Later, the next presenter will give you more about the digital competence and regarding the topic, and then we'll give you more data about regarding this topic. Okay, that's all for me. Thank you. Back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you for the fourth presenter. Great explanation. Next, jump to the fifth presenters is Vera Salsabila. So for Vera Salsabila, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you for opportunity. I am Vera Salsabila. I would like to explain my research with the title English Teacher Levels of Digital Competence. Next slide, please. Okay, the first one is introduction. In recent years, digital competence has become essential for teachers to effectively use technology in the classroom. As highlighted by Redeker 2020, digital competence include the ability to use digital tools responsibly and effectively in teaching. For English teacher, this competence is crucial not only for improving their teaching method, but also for preparing students for a digital future. Next, please. Okay, methodology. The study used qualitative descriptive analysis. The data collected from the questionnaire will be analyzed to describe the level of digital competence among English teachers. The analysis focused on identifying pattern, theme, and trend in the response related to the use of technology in teaching, assessment, and empowering students. The goal is to gain a deeper understanding of how teachers utilize digital tools in their classroom. Next, please. Okay, the findings. As you can see, the pie chart data show a balanced approach to digital competence among English teachers. The large section is professional engagement, 20%, indicate that teachers focus on using digital tools for their own development and collaboration. This highlights the importance of continuous learning and networking through technology. Next is assessment, 17%, shows that teachers use digital tools for evaluating students. These include creating and analyzing assessment which help track student progress more efficiently. And both digital resources is 16% and teaching and learning is 16% are also significant. Teachers use digital resources for planning lessons and differing contents, making their teaching more interactive and engaging. And then teaching and learning response, how technology is integrated into lesson, and improving student participation. And then facilitating learners' digital competence is 60%, show that teachers help students develop digital skills, preparing them for a teach-different future. And lastly is empowering learner is 15%, focus on giving students more control over their learning using digital tools and encouraging independence. And next slide. Okay, discussion. English teachers are distributed across 6 key areas, reflecting a balance, but this slide focus on various aspects of digital integration in education. Overall, the data reveals the English teachers are integrating technology in various ways, both for their own growth and to enhance students' learning experience. The even distribution shows a balanced focus on using technology effectively in different aspects of teaching. Next. Okay, lastly is conclusion. Based on the data from the pie chart, it can be concluded that English teachers take a balanced approach in developing their digital competence. They focus not only on their own professional development through professional engagement, but also use technology to enhance assessment teaching and learning in the classroom. Additionally, teachers play a key role in facilitating learner digital competence and empowering learner by equipping them with the necessary digital skills for the future. Overall, English teachers demonstrate a holistic digital competence, integrating technology effectively to support their teaching and empower students in technology-driven learning. Okay, that's all from me. Back to the moderator. Thank you very much.
Okay, welcome. Great explanation for the fifth speaker. Next, jump to the last speaker. Before I call the six presenters, let me read the short biography of the Dewi Nurholis. So the research title is about English teachers' attitude and efforts in enhancing their digital competence. And she's an alumni from Islam Negeri Sultan Tahta Saifuddin Jambi University, and her occupation is an English teacher at a private language course center. So for Dewi Nurholis, the Zooms is yours.
All right. Thank you, moderator. Good morning, Mem Sari, presenter, and all the participants. In this occasion, I'm going to talk about the part of my research entitled English Teachers' Attitudes and Efforts in Enhancing Their Digital Competence. Okay, without any further ado, let's jump to the introduction. All right, so the reason why I conducted this research is because there's a necessity for teachers to possess strong digital competencies. Is increasingly recognized as essential for effective classroom instruction in the modern educational landscape. So because of that, there are many research that is conducted in the digital competence field. But all those studies on teachers' digital competence have done in various contexts. Digital competence. And then furthermore, the majority of those investigations were conducted in European nations with higher educational levels. Because of that, this is why I think that it is crucial to find out the digital competence of English teacher in the context of Asian, especially in Indonesia. The next, please. So the objective of this study the studies aim at investigating a teacher's attitude and teacher's attempt to enhance their digital competence. By understanding these two elements, we'll help the institution, educators, and future researchers to motivate and take into account raising teachers' digital competence in order to keep with the rapid evaluation of technology. Next, please. All right, so here are the methods. Next. All right, so the research design that I use here is the qualitative study, which applied narrative inquiry design. The investigation was done in one of the public senior high school in Palembang. The school was selected because it was one that heavily integrated digital technology into its curriculum, into its learning process. And then the participants, there were 4 English teachers there, 3 female and 1 male in the school. So all those teachers participated in the study. Next. All right, so here are the data collection methods. One-on-one semi-structured interview was conducted using participants' native language or English based on their preference. And then documentation was also employed in addition to interview data. And the data obtained were analyzed using thematic analysis, both structured interview and also the documentation. There were 3 key stages of thematic analysis was adopted in the study: repeatedly reading through the data, coding, and then categorizing. The next, please. All right. Next, I'm going to talk about the result of or the finding of this research. The first is because I'm focusing on English teachers' attitude. So I found that English teachers' attitudes of digital competence were largely positive. So all those participants view digital competence is important for English teacher, not only for English teacher, by the way. They also explained that for all teachers. There was a necessity to adjust teaching approaches to align with the nature of this era. So the participants stated that they are currently teaching Gen Z and maybe the younger one, Gen Alpha, and that they see this what is that? They see these students are digital native, and that's why they are naturally digital competent in the age of technology. And then the efficiency and effectiveness in the use of appropriate technology in teaching English. So they view that the use of technology and the use of how they utilize their digital competence can make the learning process more efficient and more effective. For example, they don't need to in the past, maybe when they are teaching, they need to what is that, print out the material and then they share it to the students, with takes time, takes money, and takes efforts. While with technology, they can just share the PowerPoint, for example, or the Canva, and then they can read the material by using digital tool, and then that's very what is that, can save time and money. And then the educator use technology to promote an interactive and engaging classroom. So technology make the students more engaged into the learning process. And then the last, technology as an element of change and enhance creativity in the learning environment. So as we know that Gen Z and also Gen Alpha is called as the generation that like to making content. So that's one of the statement from the participant, and that's why the teachers tend to give the kind of assignment that can make them more creative and can dig out their creativity in the learning process. Next, please. All right. While in the context of English teachers' attempt to enhance their digital competence, the findings suggested that teachers were involved in professional development opportunities that improve their digital competence, such as webinars, workshop, government initiative program, collaborative learning among teachers, and social media as a source and training for teachers learn independently. So they had involved in a formal professional development, and then they also have the kind of community that where on every Friday all the teachers in the school will sit together and they will share the knowledge about technology, about the learning process, and everything related to it. So that's why in this school the teachers are very is very competent. And then the next, please. All right, so the discussion, the first highlight I highlight here that English teachers had positive opinion on the usage of digital tools, which is also found out by Sim and Ismail in 2023, and also by Derder. And then the second highlight is stated by Bedenlier in 2020 that educational technology promotes students' participation, with behavior engagement being the most common aspect. And the third highlight, modern technology significantly enhance students' creativity and critical thinking skills. And the last highlight is for the teachers attitude, that technology assists teachers in replacing traditional method with more efficient and then technology-based teaching tools. Next. All right, in the context of teachers' attempt, professional development programs, including webinars, workshops, and house training and courses, are common methods for enhancing knowledge and competencies. This is supported by Asfina and also Roslindawati and so on. And then the second highlight, teachers who interact and collaborate with peers using various digital environments enhance their digital competence significantly. So as I mentioned, they have a kind of collaboration or among teachers. And then social media platforms are also utilized for teaching purpose, indicating that these platforms not only enhance student learning but also contributed to teacher professional growth. The specific social media were mentioned, such as YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and etc. And then the last is informal and independent professional development frequently appears to function together, providing a strong source of self-effectiveness, information, and encouraging reflection. Next, please. All right, so now we come to the conclusion. The first, teachers' attitude of digital competence are likely positive in various areas, and then they realize that the importance of digital competence in promoting creativity, creating interactive, engaging, and effective learning environments. English teachers are already engaged in different approaches to enhance their digital competence. This involves formal professional development, which includes webinar, workshop, institutional support program, collaborative learning among teachers, and informal self-study. And then based all of this finding, the interpretation of were made that the need to improve teachers' digital competencies, they must be competent to handle digital materials in order to integrate technology into classroom, increase teaching efficiency, sorry, and encourage students to learn about modern technology. All right, so I think that's all my presentation. I give back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you so much, Dewi Nurholis. Great explanation. Okay, we jump to the Q&A session. So before we jump to the Q&A session, let me remind all the participants should fill out the attendance list. So we jump to the Q&A session for all the participants. You can use the chat box or you can raise your hand to ask the question from presenter 1 until presenter 6. You mentioned it which question belonging to your questions. Thank you.
Okay, I am Farah Salsabila. I want to ask the first presenter, Weni Pratiwi. Can I? Can I, moderator?
Yeah, sure. For Wendy.
Okay, I am Farah Salsabila. I will ask Weni Pratiwi. Could you share to us the progress of analyzing your data, and what is your challenge in conducting your research? Thank you.
Okay, for Wendy, you can answer the question coming from Farah.
Okay, nice questions. Thank you, Vera. Well, in conducting this research, the first one is I collecting the data. The data collections process involves distributing an online questionnaire to students. And then the questionnaires includes 30 close-end items, where statement number 1 to 15 concerns pre-service teacher perception of integrating technology in creating podcasts in English language education, which includes statement about attitude, comfort level, and perceived usefulness of technology in teaching and learning. And then statement number 16 to 30 are related to the impact of collaborative creation of podcasts by students to their development of communication skill. So in this study, I use a four-point Likert scale: strongly disagree, agree, and strongly agree. So I didn't use a neutral to measure respondent level of agreement or disagreement with each item. To the decisions to use a four-point scale rather than the more common 5 when I said before neutral. The decisions to use was based on the need to encode decisive responses. By excluding a neutral option, I repeat, by excluding a neutral options, respondents were encouraged to reflect more deeply on its statement and commit to a positive or negative stance, which can provide clearer insight into perception and attitudes. And then after I got the data, I analyzed using descriptive analysis to calculate the mean and standard deviations for each item, as I show you guys in our presentations. There is the average or the means of each item, and then the standard deviations. It provides insight into respondents' overall agreements level and identifying trends, an attitude toward podcast creation as a communication skills developed tool. And then for the challenges, yeah, honestly, in conducting, in analyze the research, in analyzing, there is no difficulties actually. And however, I have some difficulties in the first of my writing. When I start writing, podcasts were still relatively new, yeah, guys, yeah. So I have some difficulty finding relevant literature. And then the second one is the collection the data. The challenges lies in the data collection. It is very difficult to gain cooperation from participants. I don't know why, because everyone has a busy schedule, right? So I think they were busy at the time, so it is difficult uh, to to get their cooperations. It also took a long time to wait for them to complete the Google Forms, and I have to remind them repeatedly to fill it out. I think that's all.
Okay, thank you so much, Weni. Great explanation. For Vera, do you understand what does it mean by Weni?
Okay, thank you, Weni. I get the point.
Next, other questions?
Can I, moderator?
Okay, you can, Tripuja.
I would like to ask to the sixth presenter, the winner Hollis. So the question is, do you think that students and teachers in Palembang, especially, already, are digitally competent from your research, research?
So for Dewi, you can answer is the question coming from Puja.
All right, so thank you very much for Puja for asking the question. So do teachers and students in Palembang are already digital competent, especially in using technology. So since my my research is only conducted in one of the senior high school in Palembang. So in this school, I found that they are digital competent enough in using of technology in learning. But however, this type of research is qualitative study, and then it is we cannot assume from one small thing to make it to make it general, over generalization. So that's why in the context of digital competence, this topic is it's still rare. That's why even in Palembang, I couldn't find any literature that talking about digital competence. So I have I have no exact answer for that, since my my research is conducted in qualitative study. But however, maybe later, if our friends here who are attending the Zoom have has an interested in this topic, you are this topic is very open for you to find out how is the level of the digital competence of the students and the teachers especially in Palembang. So I think that's my answer.
Okay, thank you so much, Dewi Nurholis. So for Tripuja,
Okay, it's very clear. Thank you.
okay, next, coming to the next question. Next question, please, to save the time. All right, I think there is no question, no more questions. Means that we close the first session. If it is no more questions. All right, I think we jump to the closing session. Before we end the first session, I had like to express my sincere to six presenter. We hope that in this discussion we have to provide our insight and deeper understanding to related the topic, and I conclude this we in this presentation. Thanks for all the participants and your engagement to the collaboration active in this participation. Thanks for your participation. See you in the next session. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, thank you, moderator. So everyone, thank you for joining with us in exploring reading, motivation, hot-based material, novel strategy, and teacher professional development. We hope this session has provided valuable insight and practical strategy to enhance teaching and learning experience. So stay motivated and see you in the next session. I will give like break. I think we will start the next session and I will give it back to the next MC. Thank you, everyone. See you on the session 2. Okay, we will break until at 10 o'clock. After this, please prepare for the next presenter.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Okay, good afternoon for all participants here. I hope all participants are still enthusiastic for this session until Q&A session. First of all, please allow me to welcome the presenters who will be sharing their idea and experiences with us today. And I also like to welcome all the participants and lecturers of the Second Language Education Research Conference and Expo. Welcome to this session, Enhancing English Proficiency, Exploring Reading Motivation, Thoughts-Based Materials, TOEFL Strategies, and Teachers' Professional Development. My name is Amelia Kurniasari Faruk, and I'm the moderator for this session. We have a lineup of insightful presentations from researchers and practitioners, and we encourage your active participation throughout this session. I would like to explain some rules for the webinar. Each presenter will have 10 minutes to present their work, so be sure that you share all the points in that time. We have 6 presenters today. Before start, I will read sort by the data of each presenter. After all presenters present their paper, it will be followed by a Q&A session. Let's ensure we stay on schedule by keeping question and answer concise and relevant. Without further ado, please allow me to begin this session. But at first, I want to remind you to fill out the link of the attendance list in the chat box. Yeah. So for the operator, please share screen. Okay, for the first presenter, we have Debbie Dwi Juliani. As an accomplished alumna of the English Education Sriwijaya University, has built strong foundation in English language education, dedicate her expertise to teaching students with across various levels. She serves as a tutor Bimbel BT at 70 Palembang. The title, An Analysis of Reading Attitude and Reading Motivation English Education Students at University in Palembang. Okay, next please. Next, we have Wardasri Eza with the title Developing Multimodal HOTS-Based English Reading Materials Using Google Sites for Environmental Health Students at Health Polytechnic Ministry Palembang. She is an alumni Sriwijaya University and now she is as the English tutor. Next, please. For the third, we have Aminus Solihin with the title Developing Multimodal HOTS-Based English Reading Materials Using Google Docs for Dental Health Students. He is an alumni from Sriwijaya University and now he is a TOEFL preparation English tutor. For the fourth, we have Ade Bunga Izati with the title Undergraduate Students' Experiences with ITP TOEFL Predictions, Challenges and Strategies at an Islamic Higher Institution. She is alumni from UIN Raden Fatah Palembang and now she is a freelance teacher at Tutoring Center. For the fifth, we have Andini Nurul Khotimah. The implementation of differentiated instruction by Guru Penggerak, the study of the English public high school teachers. She is alumni from Sriwijaya University and now she is an English teacher. And for the last presenter, we have Pranindya Ayu Mutia with the title An Investigation of the Implementation of Differentiated Instruction within the Context of Teaching Practicum by the students of Pendidikan Profesi Guru PPG Prajabatan. She is alumni from UIN Raden Fatah Palembang and now she is an English teacher at SD Islam Fatimah Palembang and active as speakers in international seminars. Okay, without any further ado, let me invite for the first presenter, Debbie Dwi Juliani. For Debbie Dwi Juliani, who will be presenting an analysis of reading attitude and reading motivation of English education students at universities in Palembang. For Debbie Juliani, the Zoom floor is yours.
All right. Thank you, moderator. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Ma'am Sari, and all the speakers and all of my friends here. So here I'll present you about my ongoing research about the reading attitude and motivation as the topics. Without any further ado, let's move on to the next slide. So reading attitude and reading motivation are the key factors in fostering a successful reading culture. Next, please. You guys may be like wondering why reading? Why should we do research on reading? But there are so many research on reading. Like it's not a new topic, right? So here we discuss the definition first. So reading is the process of decoding symbols, letters, or characters to derive meaning. So it is not just about understanding words, but also engaging with ideas, knowledge, and perspectives. As what Rainer et al. 2011 said, reading is a complex cognitive process involving the extraction and comprehension of information from written text. So it's all about the written text, but reading in our mind is like on the book, right? So in that pictures. But for nowadays, in the current situation, reading has evolved significantly with technology. So e-reading, for example, e-reading refers to reading through digital platforms like smartphones, tablets, or e-books like that. So the e-reading, the reading with technology is increasingly common for the students in any education level, right? And this shift is particularly relevant as people spend more time in digital devices. So reading is still a new and it is still be one of the topic we can do the research about. And there are the importance of readings. Next slide, please. So reading is very important for the academic growth of the students. For example, the students derive the information they study by using textbook, they study by reading the articles. So reading is still important. Here's this in the slide there are three importance of reading. The first one is the access to knowledge. So like what I mentioned before, many academic journals, books, and resources are in written for and available in English reading for specifically, and it's offering a wealth of knowledge. So specifically, what I mentioned in reading here is reading in English. So there are, since English is a global language, right? So there are more good and very good books or ebooks written by all experts in the world. So and it is in English language, right? So the importance of reading English is to assess the knowledge to the students. And the second importance is the critical thinking. So reading in English exposes students to diverse ideas, which enhances their analytical and critical thinking abilities. So yeah, reading in English can foster their critical thinkings. And so one is global communications. So English is a global language, and proficiency in it opens door to international education, career opportunities, and networking. Yeah, of course, if the students are proficient in English reading. It can open doors to international education, career opportunities, and networking, and so on. So fostering English reading habits, especially for Indonesian students, is essential for empowering the students to compete in a global level. And the next slide, please. So here's we'll gonna discuss about the state of reading in Indonesia. So unfortunately, Indonesia faces significant challenges in fostering strong reading habits. Studies often highlight that Indonesian students have low reading interest and literacy rates compared to other countries. Like what I show you in the slide here, there is the Indonesian literacy level from PISA scores is ranked 68 out of 74 countries. They ranked, and it is low, right? And then another example is from UNESCO. UNESCO has reported that the reading interest index in Indonesia is one of the lowest globally. So, what has the students do, right, with reading? Like what if Nanti 2012 said, many Indonesian EFL English as a foreign language students primarily read for school assignments only rather than for pleasures. This focus on academic reading leads to weak reading habits. So studies mentioned that the Indonesian students only read when they have the assignments, when they have homework, not for the pleasures. So the students not making this reading as their habits. So that's why the English the literacy level of in Indonesia is the lowest. That's only for the reading habits, and it's more broad. I discuss here is English reading, right? So if the Indonesian language reading is low, how about the English reading habits? So it's such a problem, right, for Indonesian students. And addressing these issues requires both systematic changes and shift in attitude toward the reading. So the teachers has the responsibility to change these habits. The next one, please. Okay, as what I mentioned, the students has to do some changes in the students' reading attitude. So what is really reading attitude? So reading attitude refers to a person's feelings, beliefs, and behaviors toward reading. It can be positive or negative and directly impacts how often and how well a person reads. It can be the positive attitude or negative attitude. The positive attitude refers to the student, the reader, is enjoying the process of reading, while the negative attitude is they struggles in comprehension, lack of encouragement, and associating with reading it as the boredom activities. So what Pasteur 2010 said that reading attitude is broadly defined as a range of feelings and disposition individuals have towards reading from negative to positive. This attitude reflects the consistent tendency to either avoid or engage with reading activities. And the next one is about the next one, please. Reading motivation. And Wickfield and Guthrie in 2000 mentioned that reading motivation involves an individual's goals, perceived importance, and attitudes toward content, processes, and outcomes of readings. So they divided in reading motivation into two. The first one is intrinsic motivation, that the reading for personal enjoyment or to satisfy curiosity, and the second one is the extrinsic motivation, reading for just rewards for recognition. Yes.
You have 2 minutes left. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, let me continue. The external achievement like good grades, like that's the reading motivation. And next, please. So with the definition I mentioned earlier, it is important to do a research on reading attitude and reading motivation. So, as you can read on the slide, that it can help identify the barriers that prevent students from developing positive attitudes toward reading, and provide insight into what motivates different age groups to read, and guide the educators in creating the strategies to foster both intrinsic and extrinsic reading motivation. And the last slide, please. Okay, so here's is what I did in my ongoing research. I'm doing the research on an analysis of reading attitude and reading motivation of English education students at universities in Palembang. So I plan to come to the universities in the purposive sampling method in Palembang who has the English education students, and then I want to do a survey on their reading attitude and reading motivation. So unfortunately, I haven't done this survey yet. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Next,
Okay.
is there any more slide? And I think no, yeah. Okay, thank you. That's all about my ongoing research. Back to the moderator. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for Debbie Juliani for your informative and engaging presentation. Now I'd like to call on our second presenter, Wardah Sri Erza, that will be presenting developing multimodal HOTS-based English reading materials using Google Sites for environmental health students at Polytechnic Ministry Palembang. For Kak Wardah, I would like to remind you that you just have 10 minutes to present. And for Kak Wardah, please welcome.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, everyone. Today I will present a part of my research titled Developing Multimodal HOTS-based English reading materials using Google Sites for environmental health students at Polytechnic Ministry Palembang. So this research focuses on improving English reading materials by integrating higher order thinking skills, or HOTS, with multimodal content delivered through Google Sites. Let me walk you through the background and theoretical foundation of this project. Next, please. Okay. First, let's talk about the background of the study. So, environmental health is an important field that studies the connection between the environment and human health. English reading skills are essential for environmental health students because many academic and professional resources are in English. However, most existing materials focus on basic skills like memorization rather than higher order skills like analysis and evaluation. HOTS-based materials are needed because they help students think critically and creatively to solve real-world problems in environmental health. As Damayanti et al. Stated, these materials challenge students to analyze, evaluate, and organize information from complex texts. Even though English is not their major, environmental health students must take it as a compulsory subject, making them ESP, or English for Specific Purpose learners. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, why is it important? Because according to the Ministry of Education and Culture, 21st century literacy skill requires students to understand information analytically, critically, and reflectively. So developing HOTS-based English reading materials can help students analyze, evaluate, and create information, preparing them to face complex career challenges. And also, technology is becoming more important in learning. Platforms like Google Sites provide interactive experiences by combining materials like text, videos, and images in one place. Despite these benefits, students often struggle due to limited access to engaging and relevant English reading material for their specific field. So this research seeks to address these challenges by developing innovative reading materials that meet both academic and technological demands. Okay, next slide, please. Now let's move to the literature review, which provides the theoretical foundation for the study. The first is HOTS-based reading material. So HOTS, based on Bloom's revised taxonomy, include analyzing, evaluating, and creating. These are advanced thinking skills that go beyond memorization and require deeper understanding. HOTS-based reading material are designed to help students think critically and solve problems. Research shows that using HOTS in language learning improves students' ability to understand complex texts. and solve problems. For healthcare education, this is essential because critical thinking helps students learn to think independently, a skill needed for future success. However, the content of HOTS-based reading material for environmental health students should be closely related to their field. By including topics relevant to environmental health, students can see how their studies connect to their future careers. As Handayani noted, materials related to students' fields help them understand how their education applies to their future jobs. Okay, next slide, please. The second is multimodal text. So multimodal text is approach or learning media that use different forms of communication, such as written text, visuals, audio, and interactive elements. These texts appeal to various learning styles and making learning more engaging. For example, a text about environmental pollutions might include written explanation, an infographic, a video, and a link to a case study. So multimodal texts have many benefits in English language teaching. They support different learning preferences, making lessons more inclusive and accessible. By engaging multiple senses, this text can boost motivation, interest, and memory. Additionally, multimodal texts promote critical thinking and analysis. Students learn to evaluate information presented in different formats, right? So developing higher order thinking skills and media literacy. This approach helps students improve their language skills while also preparing them for modern multimodal communication. Okay, next slide. The third is Google Sites. Why I chose Google Sites? Because Google Sites is a simple and flexible platform that supports the delivery of multimodal content. So teachers can create interactive and accessible materials without needing advanced technical skills. Its main strengths are ease of use and integration with other Google services. Users don't need coding knowledge to build a site, and they can easily add media like YouTube videos, calendars, maps, and documents through Google Workspace. And Google Sites content can also be turned into Android-based web application, including text buttons, images, and HTML formats. So students can leave comments or ask questions via shared link, enhancing interaction with teachers. And research showed that technology like Google Sites can boost student engagement and improve learning outcomes, especially in language learning. So by combining these three elements, HOTS, multimodal text, and Google Sites, this research aims to create English reading materials that are both effective and relevant to environmental health students. Okay, next slide, please. So these are some relevant previous studies that have explored the design and implementation of higher order thinking skill, the use of multimodal text in English language teaching, and the application at digital platforms like Google Sites in education. The first study is from Zohar and Dori. So the study examined the effectiveness of HOTS-based reading materials in enhancing critical thinking skill among high school students. Okay, next slide. The next study is from Ajayi, explored the use of multimodal text in English language teaching and its impact on students' engagement and comprehension. The findings indicated that multimodal text significantly enhanced students' understanding and retention of information. And the last study is from Taufik and Doyan, Google site-based learning media to improve the ability to master concept and think critically of high school students is feasible, efficient, and effective so that it can be applied in learning. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, then the next is the significance of the study. So the first significance is addresses the gap in contextual and engaging English reading materials. So it aims to fill the gap in the availability of HOTS-based English reading materials for environmental health students. And the second is promotes critical and creative thinking skill. By focusing on HOTS, this research promotes critical and creative thinking skills that are crucial for academic and professional success. And the last is integrates innovative technology for accessible and effective learning. Finally, by leveraging technology, specifically Google Sites, it ensures that the learning process is both accessible and innovative. So in conclusion, this research highlights the importance of integrating HOTS and multimodal text through technology to improve English reading materials for environmental health students. I think that's all from me. Back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you for Wardah for your great explanation. Now we jump to the next speaker, Aminus Solihin. that will be presenting developing multimodal HOTS-based English reading materials using Google Docs for dental health students. Let's welcome for Aminu Solihin. You may start your presentation, and you just have 10 minutes for present. Thank you.
Oke, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you for the moderator. Good morning, everyone. And the Honorable Ibu Sari Silviani, thank you for having me in this webinar. And I apologize that I don't know what's going on with my screen right now. My picture just won't show up. All right, in this webinar, I would like to talk about my research thesis. My research thesis regarding developing multimodal HOTS-based English reading materials using Google Docs for dental health students. First of all, I would like to talk about why I choose this title for my research thesis. Well, instructional materials are required in teaching and learning process. These materials, such as textbooks, modules, and more, play a crucial role in English language instructions as they influence the effectiveness of process and students' academic performance. In the context of healthcare education, the instructional materials must be related to learning needs of the students in order to meet their professional career. Moreover, these materials foster the enhancement of their critical thinking abilities, thereby facilitating the effectiveness of teaching and learning activities. Nevertheless, the materials that are genuinely tailored to the needs of the students are not consistently accessible. As a result, this lack of accessibility is a significant challenge for learners, since they are unable to effectively interact with the content and resources supplied. Okay, next. As it is stated in the proposal for competitive research of Sriwijaya University in the Health Polytechnic Palembang by Mirizon 2022, and the observation that I conducted in 2024 in dental study program identified that the English materials are still general or do not align with students' learning needs, thereby lacking to catch their interest and failing to effectively practice their English for professions. Okay, next. And therefore, it is required to develop materials that align with students' need for learning and professions. And here are some terms related to the research topic. And the first is material development. It involves the development, implementations, and evaluation of educational resources for the purpose of learning and teaching. In the context of English language teaching, its objective is to create effective and engaging resources that cater to the needs of learners. In other words, material development is the activity to create, apply, and evaluate resources to facilitate learning activities. Okay, next. There are some stages of developing materials for learning and teaching activity. The first thing is you need to do is conducting a need analysis. And this stage is used in order to determine learning needs of the students and learning objectives. In this stage, you need to know who the students are and what level they are, in what level they are. Then they're determining what the students expect from learning the materials. The next is design stage. This stage determines what kind of content you need to include in the materials, as well as the format and structure. In addition is the development stage. This stage involves creating the materials, whether through writing, recording, or digital development. Once you created the materials, the material is implemented for use by learners. And the last is evaluation stage, which aim to obtain the effectiveness of materials and guides any necessary revisions. Okay, next. The next is higher order thinking skills. These skills refer to cognitive processes such as critical thinking, problem solving, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation, which extend beyond mere memorization and comprehension. The skill demands students to explore deeper level of thinking to grasp, apply, analyze, and access information or concepts. Okay, next. There are some reasons why is it important to include HOTS in instructional materials. The first is developing HOTS of students. Some studies claim that the materials that incorporate HOTS components enable students to effectively differentiate between ideas, articulate arguments proficiently, solve problems adeptly, construct through explanations, generate hypotheses, and grasp complex concepts more comprehensively. In addition, utilizing HOTS component in the materials are beneficial for students' comprehension and learning, as the students are required to use critical thinking and others in learning the materials. Moreover, formulating questions with HOTS are essential to enhance student motivation and learning. Some studies asserted that indicating that students who encounter HOTS-based questions exhibited increased level of motivation to engage in learning when compared to those who did not have exposure to such questions. The next is, okay, please, next. The next is multimodal text. It's the communication that integrates various modes such as written language, visual, audio, visual arrangement to convey meanings. These modes collaborate to offer a unified communication experience. For example, a written content could be blended with visual, videos, and interactive features. And then likewise, a presentation might incorporate spoken narrations alongside slides featuring text, image, and charts. Next. Please, next, please. Okay. There are a few reasons why is it beneficial to utilize multimodal text, especially in reading materials. The first is promoting students' learning motivations. It happens because the text combine various modes such as written language, spoken language, and visual elements, audio, gestures, or spatial context. As a result, they stimulate interest in reading and inspire students to approach text with enthusiasm, thereby fostering reading habits and motivations. In addition, modal texts are considered to potentially enhance student higher order thinking skills. The text encourage reading to assess, combine information from various sources. As a result, this fosters their critical thinking as they evaluate how text and visual elements interact. Lastly, multimodal texts are beneficial to develop students' reading comprehensions. Integrating this kind of text with visual elements like images and diagrams help students develop a deeper understanding of the materials, since visual aids can clarify and enhance textual information, making complex ideas easier to understand. Okay, next, please. Next slide. Okay, the last term in my study is Google Docs. I'm sure that all of you are aware or familiar with Google Docs, right? You might use this app for creating online quiz or document before. And in my study, Google Doc is employed for creating the developed multimodal host-based materials for a couple of reasons. The first, Google Doc is used since it provides an interactive platform for creating, editing, and sharing documents and various fonts and formats. Users can use some components in Google Docs such as text, images, which are helpful to create multimodal host-based materials. And the last reason, of course, is that the students can read the materials anywhere using Google Docs. as it is accessible on any device with internet connections, such as using through computers, tablets, and smartphones. Okay, I think that's all for my presentation. Thank you very much. Back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you for Kak Aminus Solihin for your insightful and engaging presentation. Now I'd like to call on our fourth presenter, Ade Bunga Izati, that will be present about undergraduate students' experiences with ITP TOEFL prediction, challenges, and strategies at an Islamic higher institution. Let's we invite for Kak Ade. The Zoom floor is yours.
All right, thank you for moderator for a chance. So let me introduce myself. My name is Ade Bunga Izati. I would like to present about my research article entitled Undergraduate Students' Experiences with ITP TOEFL. With ITP TOEFL prediction, challenges and strategies at an Islamic higher institutions. Okay, next. All right, so here that subtopic that we're going to discuss: introduction, problems, objective, literature review, methodology, result, discussion, and also the conclusions. Next. All right, for the first one, introduction. As a global language, English has some benefit to people around the world. So according to Pandaroga 2015, English bridges and uniting individuals from all over the world, regardless of their nationalities. So for measure someone's ability in using English language skill, measured by English test that called TOEFL. All right, next. So since English as a global language, there is a TOEFL test of English as a foreign language. That means a global test that measures how well people speak and understand English, especially in academic settings. Many universities and schools use it to check the English skills of non-native speakers. And then after the TOEFL, there are many kinds of TOEFL. One of them is TOEFL ITP. TOEFL ITP is institutional testing program. It's a version of the test used by certain schools for their own assessment. And it's not for a university. It tests a similar skill, but the format and score may differ, and its results are usually not accepted as outside the institution. Next. Okay, next, here are my problems of the study. The first one is, what are the challenges the English education study program students of UIN encounter in answering ITP TOEFL prediction? And the second one is, what are the student strategies for coping with the challenges? Next. And for objective of the study, the first one, to find out the challenges the English of Education study program student of UIN encounter in answering ITP TOEFL prediction, and then to find out the students' strategies in coping with these challenges. Next. All right, so these are the subtopics that I'm going to discuss for my literature review. The first one is definition of TOEFL, development of TOEFL, the purpose of TOEFL, and TOEFL ITP at UIN Raden Fatah Palembang. Next. All right, so for methodology, for my research design, this research will apply a qualitative research approach with a case study design, and for the participants, non-semester students at English Education study program of UIN Raden Fatah Palembang. And for my data collection, this research will use questionnaire and interview to collect the data. And for my data analysis, for the questionnaire data, it will be analyzed for descriptively. And for interview data, it used thematic analysis by Brown and Clark 2006. Next. All right, so here is my result. There are three There are three topics. The first one for written, reading, and also written, reading, and the first one is written. So there are 7 items here. You can see, guys, the result of my questionnaires. The first one about the equivalent connection of word in the task, how to understand and avoid redundancy word in the task. And then you can see all of the items here. And also there is a percentage here. And then next, for the next item, for the reading difficulties, also there are 6 items here. First one, how to find out the difficulty to understand the passage because of lack of vocabulary, and also there are some percentage here. And the next, and the last one for listening difficulties, there are 8 items here. So you can see also here the percentage and the result of my questionnaires. All right, next. Okay, so after those 3 results for each item, so in here, I conclude that based on the diagram, you can see the diagram, the students got difficulty most in structure and written expression. The next is listening, and the last is the reading. The data above shown that the mean score of the students' answer in structure and written expression is 63.28%. You can see the diagram there. And while the mean score of the students' answer in listening is 66.36%. And for the mean score answer in reading is 68.72%. So we can conclude that the most difficult part is in structure and written expression. Next. Okay, so the previous is about the result of my questionnaire. So here are the result for my interview result. The first one, the strategy in answering listening skill. So I take 5 participants from NIN semester of English education study program. So I conclude that from their answer of interview that for short conversation, focus on both speakers, read the option before the recording, and listen carefully. So that those are the strategy from all of them. And then for long conversation, find the main points and pay attention to details like term, place, and time. And then if you don't understand something, look for similarities and patterns. And for idioms and phrasal verbs, memorize them and know their meanings. If you come across an unknown word, use the surrounding words to figure it out. Okay, so that's the strategy in answering listening skill. And then next. After that, here are the strategy in answering written skill. For a written skill, you have to see the structure and written expression question. Test takers should focus on finding the subject and verb and pay attention to tenses, time expression, preposition, appositive, and connectors. And if you answer about the structure, match the options with the question and choose the correct sentence. If unfamiliar with a word, read the word before and after it, and look at the context and try to understand the meaning from the whole sentence. And then next, last. Okay, for the reading skill, there are, I conclude some answer from those participants. The first one, read the question and then find the keywords in the passage. If you don't understand the passage, reread the paragraph. If you still don't get it, skip it and focus on finding the keywords. That's the first strategy in answering reading skill. And then next one, to identify the main idea, read the first and last sentences of each paragraph. It may also appear in the middle. And then when you answering detailed question, read quickly but carefully. And then still focus on the relevant paragraph and match keywords with the options. And then for reference questions, understand the pronouns, look at the previous sentences or words, and determine whether the reference is to the subject or object. All right, next. Okay, after the result from the interview and also the questionnaire, we comes from the discussion for my study. According to Brown 2004 theory about listening difficulty, there are 8 difficulty. They are clustering, redundancy, reduced from performance variable, colloquial language, rate of delivery, stress, rhythm, intonation, and interaction. And then next. And then the conclusion for my study, the first one, English and literature students have a difficult in the TOEFL test such as clustering, false analogy, misanalysis, vocabulary understanding. Test is structure and written expression with 63.28%, determining main idea and idiom, the most difficult part in the TOEFL. And then the second one, the strategies that the participant use to get a minimum score, such as the strategy to answer main short conversation, are avoid the similar sound, focus both first and second speaker, read the option before the recording on, listen to the question carefully, and get yourself used to it listening. And then in the same with belief theory that the test taker should focus on the second speaker and avoid similar sound. All right, so that's all about my research article. Thank you. I will give it back to the moderator.
All right, thank you for Kak Ade. Now I would like to call our fifth presenter, Andini Nurul Khotimah, who will be presenting the implementation of differentiated instruction by Guru Penggerak, the study of the English public high school teachers. For Andini Nurul Khotimah, the Zoom floor is yours.
All right, thank you very much for moderator. Okay. Good morning to the honorable lecturer, Dr. Sofiani, and to all the presenter as well as the audiences. Okay, I do really apologize because of the noise. Wait a minute. All right, let me continue. So in this opportunity, I would like to present my research entitled The Implementation of Differentiated Instruction by Guru Penggerak, the study of English public high school teachers in Palembang. Okay. Next. Okay, this is the table of contents that I would like to explain. First of all, background of the study, and then the second, problems of the study. The third is the objective of the study. The fourth is research method. The fifth is population and sample. The sixth is data collection. The seventh is data analysis, and I forgot to add result and conclusion. Next. Next, please. Okay. Now I'd like to explain the background of the study. So, according to the Ministry of Education, Culture, Research, and Technology of Republic of Indonesia, it mentioned that they have established a program called Guru Penggerak since 2020 in order to accelerate the improvement of the performance quality of public and private schools teachers in Indonesia. And in Guru Penggerak program, teachers get involved in 6 months of training and workshop through individual and group mentoring by Guru Penggerak instruction. Next, please. Okay, there are 3 learning topics in group program. The first is the paradigm and vision of guru penggerak, learning practices that accommodate student needs, and learning leaders in management. In the study, I focus on the second topic, which talks about differentiated instruction. Okay, according to Tomlinson, differentiated instruction is an approach where teachers are proactive and focused on common goals for each student by providing them with multiple options in anticipation of and in response to differences in readiness, interests, and learning styles. Next, please. Okay. Hasana 2023 conducted a study at senior high school in South Sulawesi about how guru penggerak plan differentiated instruction in English learning, and the results showed that English teachers who attended guru penggerak program planned differentiated instruction through diagnostic assessment and curriculum analysis. And the second, the study conducted by Anggreni and Dewi in 2023, who investigated the strategies applied by guru penggerak at SMK PGRI 2 Malang in teaching English by using differentiated instruction. The result reported that teachers applied content, aspect, product of differentiated instruction and provided the student with the topic related to the interest and learning style to accommodate the student's needs. Next. Okay, this is the problem of the study. There are 3 problems actually. The first is, how did guru penggerak of English public high school teachers implement differentiated instruction? The second is, what were the challenges they had encountered in implementing differentiated instruction in their teaching of English? And the third is, how did they cope with the challenges in implementing differentiated instruction? Next. Okay, the objective of the study, there are 3. First, to find out how guru penggerak of English public high school teachers in Palembang implemented differentiated instruction. Second is how to find out what challenges they had encountered in implementing differentiated instruction in their teaching of English. Third is to find out how they cope with the challenges in implementing differentiated instruction. Next. Okay, for methodology, the research method that I use is qualitative study. So according to Creswell, qualitative study is a study in which a researcher is able to explore a problem and develop detailed understanding of a central phenomenon. Next. Okay, the population and the sample. So the population in the study is guru penggerak of English high school teachers in Palembang who graduated from guru penggerak program in 2023. Next. For the population selected were 2 guru penggerak of English public high school teachers in Palembang, and there are 2 reasons why me as a researcher selected guru penggerak of English public high school teachers in Palembang. First, the participant met the criteria of the study are available, and then the participant had already taken guru penggerak program. Next. For data collection, in the study, a semi-structured interview was used to explore participant thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. Furthermore, there are 15 questions in the semi-structured interview. The interview session were reported by using voice recorder about 60 minutes in order to avoid any information left when transcribing. Next. Okay, for data analysis, the study used thematic analysis, and according to Creswell 2020, according to Creswell 2012, states that thematic analysis is the way of analyzing the data in order to identify patterns or codes to find themes through collected data. And according to Brown and Clark 2006, there are 4 steps analyzing qualitative data by using thematic analysis, such as familiarization with the data, generating initial codes, identifying potential themes, and refining themes to align with the study objectives. Furthermore, member checking was used to establish the trustworthiness in order to confirmation from the participant whether or not the transcribing of interview is clear and true as what it is stated. Next. Okay, this is the results of the interview that I got from two guru penggerak of English Publication teachers that were analyzed by using thematic analysis. There are themes, sub-themes, and quotes. For the first research question, the implementation of differentiated instruction, and the sub-theme is first diagnostic assessment. For the quotes, it showed that the teachers used cognitive and non-cognitive diagnostic assessment to identify students' learning levels. And then before implementing differentiated instruction, the second is differentiated content. The teachers customized learning materials according to students' learning levels as well as their learning styles. And for differentiated process, teachers group the students based on their learning levels and learning styles for discussion and presentations, fostering collaborative learning. And for differentiated product, the teachers allowed the students to show their understanding through various formats like PPT, mind mapping, infographics, audio, or video. Next, the second is the challenges in implementing differentiated instruction. There are three: classroom management, large class sizes, and students' engagement. For classroom management, the teacher found difficulty in managing class during group activities, especially in implementing differentiated process. And for large class sizes, the teacher found difficulties in grouping the students based on their proficiency levels due to high number of students. And for students' engagement, the teachers found difficulty in collecting students' differentiated tasks, especially product-based assignments. And the third, the strategies to cope with the challenges in implementing differentiated instructions. There are three. First is icebreaking activities. The second is homogeneous grouping. And the last is classroom agreement. Okay, for icebreaking activities, the teachers use icebreakers to manage classroom noise and to keep students engaged during group work. And for homogeneous grouping, the teachers the teachers mix the students of different proficiency level in one group to promote peer support and collaborative learning. And for classroom agreement, the teachers establish classroom agreement to maintain discipline and ensure the students' participation during group activities. Okay, the last.
Andini, sorry, your time is over.
Okay, thank you. I think that's all for my presentation. I return back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you for Kak Andini for your great presentation. Now I'd like to call our last presenter, Ranindya Ayumutia, to present her paper with title An Active Contributor to the International Academic Community, frequently presenting at esteemed global seminars. Oh, sorry.
Okay, thank
With
you.
the title An Investigation of the Implementation of Differentiated Instruction within the Context of Teaching Practicum by the Students of Pendidikan Profesi Guru Prajabatan.
Okay, thank you to the moderator and committee. Good morning, everyone. I'm Ranida, Magister student of Language Education of Universitas Sriwijaya. I'm going to present to you my study with the title An Investigation of Implementation of Differentiated Instruction by PPG Prajabatan students within the context of teaching practicum. Next, please. So everyone, professional development for teachers is a program which has an essential mechanism and crucial aspects which plays a vital role in enhancing the quality of education to improve teaching quality and fostering the continuous growth and improvement of teachers. This is in line with Desimon 2009 and Sabari and Gill 2016 stated that an active and effective professional development program would improve the knowledge, belief, skills, and confidence of teachers, as well as influencing students' learning. Next, please. So one of the teacher professional development is PPG, or Pendidikan Profesi Guru Prajabatan, or Pre-Service Teacher Profession Education Program. Directorate General of Teachers and Education Personnel 2023 defined that it is an educational program designed for the graduates or undergraduate or apply undergraduate programs, either from educational or non-educational background, to obtain the teacher certificate, so they are eligible to teach at the early childhood and secondary education levels. This is in line with the regulation number 20 of 2003 about Indonesian National Education System and the regulation number 14 of 2005 about teacher and lecturer, which state that teachers as professionals have academic qualifications, competencies, and educator certificate that is obtained through a professional education. In other words, PPG program is the actualization of both regulation. Next, please. So based on curriculum of PPG Prajabatan program, there are three groups of topics which have to finish in 2 semesters by the students. There are core topic, selective topic, and elective topic. Since there is no subject that is developed by the PPG study program of FKIP Universitas Sriwijaya as the elective topic, the students enroll only the core and selective topics. Next, please. So one of the subjects within the selective topic that the students of PPG Prajabatan at FKIP Universitas Sriwijaya, there is a pembelajaran berdiferensiasi or differentiated instructions. According to Tomlinson 1999 and Tomlinson and Ilmu 2011, differentiated instruction is a strategy for fulfilling each student's unique needs, preferences, and learning speeds in learning. Therefore, differentiated instruction exists for covering various levels of preparedness, areas of interest, and preferred learning methods. Next, please. So research methodology in this study was conducted to investigate PPG Prajabatan students' experience and perspective. The sample of this study was around 20 former students in the academic year to 2022-2023, whose undergraduate study was majoring in English education study program, but the writer was only selected as student for the participant. As Creswell and Poe 2018 suggested that there was not any specific answer for participant as long as the data have obtained in detail. This study is purposive sampling method with criteria a former student of PPG Prajabatan student who has passed PPL or teaching practicum in senior high school Palembang, but now is a novice P3K teacher in elementary school in rural area. This study employed qualitative study with narrative inquiry as a study design. Next, please. So, by conducting an interview, the finding of this subject, there are three. The first is differentiated instruction is important, yet there are still common challenges for the teacher and school. This is in line with Suryati et al. 2023, who explicated that there are various challenges in implementing differentiated instruction, such as teachers' time and effort in preparing and designing learning process. Also, human resources include students' readiness and colleagues' support. And then the second is the participants still struggling with the content. Differences have the participant have to find proper material for each student. And then the distinct is only in PPL or teaching practicum. There are lecturers and teachers in senior high school. Therefore, the participant can have consultation. And on the other side, as a novice homeroom P3K teacher in elementary school in a rural area now, the participant a bit struggle in implementing differentiated instruction to make her 8 students have fair materials based on their level, and the school doesn't have some facilities that can help the students, so the students also can access. And then the last finding is the participant conduct diagnostic cognitive and non-cognitive assessment to each student to find out the student's level and learning style. And by knowing the result, the participant can group the students heterogeneously and decide the proper contents. Grouping is ordinary method to organize the students based on cognitive and non-cognitive aspects. Cognitive includes the academic level of the students and critical thinking. Meanwhile, non-cognitive includes eagerness and stimulation in learning process. Next, please. So the conclusion of the study is the consideration how important carry differentiated instruction out both in teaching practicum in PPG Prajabatan program and as a novice homeroom P3K teacher. There are less challenges in implementing the differentiated instruction in the senior high school in Palembang because the teachers and supervisors in teaching practicum help a lot. And the steps to accomplish both in PPG Prajabatan program and as a novice homeroom P3K teacher is still the same. It is by conducting diagnostic, cognitive, and non-cognitive assessment to each student to find out the student's level and learning style. Okay, that's all for my research result. Thank you. Back to moderator.
Thank you to Kak Pranindya for your insightful presentation. Now we continue to Q&A session. For all other participants, as you listen to the presenter today, you are welcome to type the question or directly ask to the presenter. For who wants to ask the question, please kindly raise your hand or write the question in the chat box. And don't forget to write the name of the speakers of you want to ask. Thank you. Okay, Ruth, I see Ruth.
Hello, good afternoon. My name is Ruth, and my question is for Warda. My question is, how are you planning or going to implement HOTS on your research?
Okay, for the first question from Ruth to Warda Sri Erza, how are you going to implement HOTS on your research? Is it clear, Warda?
Yes. So to implement HOTS in my research, I plan to design English reading materials that align with the cognitive process outlined in Bloom's revised taxonomy, specifically analyzing, evaluating, and creating. For example, in analyzing, students will work on tasks like identifying causes and effects in a text about environmental issues or comparing and contrasting different solutions to a health-related problem. And for the evaluating, they might be asked to assess the credibility of a source or critique a proposed solution to an environmental challenge presented in the text. And finally, creating, students will engage in creative tasks such as designing a campaign to raise awareness about environmental health issues based on the information they've read. So there will be text and then the tasks. That additionally, using Google Sites allow me to integrate multimodal text such as videos, infographics, and hyperlinks, which encourage students to interact with the content critically and creatively. I think that's all from me.
Okay, so it will be test for tax, yeah. Is it clear enough for Ruth from Warda's answer?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Now we jump to the second question from Saida Saia.
Okay, thank you, Amelia. Hello, my name is Saida Saia. I would like to ask the third presenter for Aminu Solihin. Then my question is, how does collaboration in Google Docs contribute to the learning process for students and educators? That's my question.
Yes, Saida's question is to Aminu Solihin. The question is, how does collaboration in Google Docs contribute to the learning process for students and educators? To Aminu Solihin, you can answer it.
Okay, that's a very good question, right? And you know that we all know Google Docs, right? We might use Google Docs for create online quiz and other any documents and what's the question again? How Google Docs helps collaborate?
How does collaboration in Google Docs contribute to the learning process for students and educators?
Okay. I give you the example of my research question since I use Google Docs for creating English reading materials, and through Google Docs, the teachers use Google Doc. I use Google Docs for to create multimodal course-based English reading materials. And how does this platform helps to collaborate among learners and teachers, then because this platform can be accessed via online, and then the materials can be accessed via online, and then the learners can learn the materials through Google Docs, and then hopefully, and the teachers or the educators can also give the feedback through Google Doc itself, because in accessing my developed learning materials, it's only simply accessing the link to access it, and then the materials in Google Docs can, like Warda mentioned before, because my research thesis is quite similar. It consists the text and also the questions. And when the students do the questions in the Google Docs, and then the teachers can give the feedbacks directly to what the student have done. I think that's one of the way that how Google Docs promote the collaborations between teachers and learners. I think that's all.
Yeah, thank you for Kak Aminus for the answers. To Kak Saida, is it cover your question?
Yes, thank you, Solihin, for your answer.
Okay, and now we jump to the third question from Nadira.
Okay, thank you so much, Amelia. So I have question for Kak Ade Bunga. So because Kak Ade Bunga is presenting her research in Islamic higher institutions. So my question is, how does the context of an Islamic higher institution influence students' preparation and experience with ITP TOEFL prediction tests?
Okay, thank you, Nadira, for your question. The question is to Kak Ade Bunga Izati. How does the context of an Islamic higher institution influence students' preparation and experience with ITP TOEFL prediction tests? To Kak Ade Bunga, you can answer.
All right, so thank you for Nadira for the question. So your question is, how does the context of Islamic higher institution to the TOEFL. Is that right?
Yes, Kak.
Yes.
So actually, Islamic higher institution here is Raden Fatah Palembang. There is no different with other institution because in here in Raden Fatah Palembang it still use TOEFL ITP. So there is no differences between the higher Islamic higher institution or the others or the general institution one like like Unsri or for others, it's not there is no the differences for the TOEFL ITP test. Maybe that's all, Nadira.
Okay,
So,
okay,
okay.
so there's no differences for preparation experience in ITP TOEFL predictions. That's right?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, thank you, Kak.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, consider the limit time for this session. I think that enough for the Q&A session. All right, we have now reached the end of this session. I'd like to express my sincere thanks to all the presenters for sharing this research and to the audience for your thoughtful question and participations. We hope that the discussion in the session have provided you with valuable insights and a deeper understanding of the topics present. We encourage you to reflect on the knowledge shared and explore how it may inform your own research and professional practice. As we conclude, we extend our sincere thanks for your participation and engagement. It is through such exchange that we continue to advance knowledge and foster meaningful collaboration. Thank you once again, and we wish all the best in your ongoing work. Goodbye and see you at the next week. Before I close the session, I'll give it back to the MC. And thank you for joining us in exploring reading motivation, HOTS, based material, TOEFL strategies, and teachers' professional development. We hope this session has provided valuable insights and practical strategies to enhance teaching and learning experience. Let's continue to grow, innovate, and inspire as educators. Stay motivated and see you in our next session. Thank you and goodbye. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. But before we end this session, can you open your camera to take some photo together for all presenters and the participations? Others, can you please open your camera if it's okay. Right, so I will count in 1, 2, 3. Okay. Thank you for your great participations for today, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you.
Waalaikumsalam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Recording stopped.